If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hey Photos family, today we are delving into the part of the hero's journey and explaining a little bit more about what that means to our photography, which is the call to adventure. You know, really, in my experience, the call to adventure was, I guess, the biggest call to adventure. Let me start this back in my very beginning of when I first got my camera. I want to say it was one of those little throwaway cameras that somebody used for something that they bought it for and they just didn't want to finish it. So I don't even recall if they even really used anything. This call to adventure began my interest that I actually had something to take images with. I saw my dad carry around his cameras and to shoot photographs and film and that sort of stuff. I was intrigued. I didn't understand it. But someone gave me my first camera. It was awesome. I was intrigued by what my dad was doing, but I didn't have anything of my own, and I wasn't allowed to play with his cameras. So that was really, I guess, the big issue for me was now I have something of my own to use, and it actually will work. I can learn and I can do stuff. Now, to be quite honest, it wasn't as fast a start as I would like to think it was, or the stories may communicate the start that it sounds. I can't tell you how many years I bought film, I had film developed, and just, well, I guess I need to be kind to my own work. But no, I did not produce the quality of work then that I do now. And that's part of the reason why I'm talking about the hero's journey right now, because I've been going through this hero's journey time and time again. And I believe in all areas of life, not just photography, when we go through one lesson about whether it's learning how to shoot with different settings or add lighting, we're going through a journey. So we're going to experience all of these things in this hero's journey cycle, and we're going to come out through the other end transformed, reunited, or the lessons we have learned are now going to be applied, or giving us something that we can visually see and recognize. Oh, we didn't do X, whatever that X is. We didn't do the lesson we just recently learned. So we're going back through and we're reapplying without having to go through the huge transformation and the chaotic mess of everything. But those memories come back and remind us that to not have to go through that again to learn it again, we just apply it now. Use the knowledge we have gained in the action we might call wisdom to be able to affect a better product. That's so huge. Our call to adventure is, whether you're starting in photography or you have been doing photography for years, the call to action is pick up your camera. Pick up your camera and get to it. Use it. Be effective in what you do. That call to adventure is going to bring out a whole new set of joys, of excitement and memories and stories to share. Let's be excited about this call to adventure, and who knows, maybe it'll lead us to writing down our day's events in a daily journal so that we can catalog our lessons, we can catalog the funny stories, we can catalog the struggles and the failures we've had and how we can avoid or how we can learn more. It's compelling, isn't it, to consider some of these authors that have written some of these stories that have captured our imagination for years, and we just wonder how in the world they got to craft such a detailed, thorough, captivating story. Now, to some of you, my viewers, maybe The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings isn't your story that captivates you. You have one. Think back to it. See what the author may have learned or where they got the concept for the story. What did they go through to be able to craft it like that? Some of the authors of movies that DC and Marvel had put together, I mean, there's some incredible stuff that they were able to pull together. They learned from their own life and they put together in the stories that they crafted, that they tell in their books. It's not something that just happened by accident. This is actually something that began in their life that they learned a lesson from, which we can take and learn those principles to be able to craft our own stories from. It's something that we can use to build and frame and stretch the detail artwork over for our photographs. I'm using that picture a little bit, or at least what came to my mind when I was using those descriptive words is a bit of a work on canvas. And so the canvas has to be stretched over a wooden frame, right? Especially the gallery wrap that's hung from our production, our quality, our products. So that is the picture I want to give you. We need to learn the skill or the craft of being able to put together in a photograph something that is so structurally sound that when we laid the rest of our photograph, the lighting, the subject, whether that's animate or non-animate. In fact, I probably ought to just clarify something right now, that I'm not going to be intentionally referring to a difference between subject or object. It's always the subject of our photograph, and it's always going to be what draws somebody's attention. So I'm just going to refer to it as a subject. But we have to have something that draws everything together, that gives a context or a framed, a structure that everything makes sense, hung on and standing within. So in this story outline, in this hero's journey, my desire through this series on the hero's journey is to help us understand and to use that hero's journey, that principle, the things that make up a great story to read, are also going to be the same things that give us the structure and framework to have a great photograph that has its story built into visual effect. The call to adventure is so widespread, so sweeping a concept that hopefully as we go through this series, it'll help you kind of narrow down how to build that thought. This is actually one of the reasons why I've been issuing weekly challenges, is the challenges are going to give you something on which to stretch your imagination, to give you something to pause and to consider how to capture and how to frame or how to communicate your thought of these objects together. In fact, surprise, let's make this a weekly challenge. Write out as many adventures. How many adventures do you want to tell in photograph? Write out those ideas, maybe one per page or one per side of a page, and then detail how you're going to tell that story. As you walk through these videos day by day, and you watch through the overview of what a hero's journey is about of the past 2 weeks, consider all those elements. If you want to go back through and look at a website of a picture of the hero's journey and how they outline that cycle, you can outline it yourself and then take the greater overarching topics and fine-tune what is what, so that as we go through this week and talk about each aspect, each detail, how the hero's journey progresses and unfolds. What does that mean? How does that apply to our photography? Is that lighting? Is that styling? Is that high contrast? Is that low contrast? Is that added prop, or is that something that someone taught me that I'm adding into for emotion or intrigue? And how does this affect, how does this produce better quality in my photographs? I'm running long for this video, but I really want to produce great content for you in each video, and that's why sometimes I don't stick to a 5-minute video. But that call to adventure, this is a little bit more ethereal a topic, but this is our week's challenge. I kind of went over my call to adventure, so let me know in the comments below what your call to adventure was. And if this reminds you of things in the past, I'm glad. I really want that to be true. I want you to be excited about photography. I want you to love doing what you do, and I want you to love sharing it with people. That's really the only way that we really thoroughly enjoy it, is when we find people that enjoy our work too, and love to talk about it and see how it's done and the mass parts of it. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and if you're not yet part of our Photos family, we would love to add you to it. Just click subscribe and we will add you to our Photos family. Thank you so much. God bless.